The first principle is that we cannot use the master's tools to dismantle the master's house. The second one is a paper is a weapon. And the third one is it's kind of a greeting, Sangonani. I see you, we see each other, we're together. And so how this whole thing's going to function is it's a reading in 4 acts. Each act is broken by a chorus. The chorus is when we are all meant to be like kind of finding our vibrational frequency, our harmony. We're all going to read together during the chorus, but you guys are also welcome to read along at any time. The first, we'll start with the chorus. I guess it's also a way to kind of introduce ourselves, like our voices to each other and our tempo, and then try to find a way to actually read together. And then we will read, and then another chorus, and we'll kind of figure it out as we go along. So, yeah, we can start. It's the first, on that one it's the first page, it's the first chorus. There's 2 texts, and they'll be repeated, alternating. But yeah, you can read that. Okay, so we can start, right? The all must be all that really is. There can be nothing existing outside all. Ours the all would not be at all. The all must be infinite, for there is nothing else to define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict at all. It must be infinite in time, eternal. It must have always continuously existed, for there is nothing else to have ever created it. And something can never evolve from nothing. It must exist forever, for there is nothing to destroy it, and it can never not be, even for a moment. We could do it again, but I think that was good. I mean, we've kind of, we're finding ourselves. So good. I can start.
One thing that the left and the right now seem to agree on is that the society in which we live is called capitalism. And strangely enough, both now seem to agree that it is eternal. Even the left seems to think there is an eternal essence to capitalism, and only its appearances change. The parade of changing appearances yields a series of modifiers. This could be late capitalism, or communicate capitalism, or cognitive capitalism, or neoliberal capitalism. But short of an increasingly allegorical
We're together.
But short of an increasingly allegorical or messianic, but short of an increasingly allegorical or messianic leap into something other, it is as if the self-same thing just went on forever. It goes something like this. This is capitalism. It has an essence and it has appearances. Its essence is defined by these things. The commodity form, with its doublet of use value and exchange value. By labor's double form, as concrete and abstract labor. By the extraction of surplus value in the production process. By the wage relation. By the rising organic composition of capital. By the crisis of the tendency of the rate of profit to fall. And finally, by negation.
If the figure of the circle is essential to economics, the gift must remain an economic. Not that it remains foreign to the circle, but it must keep a relation of foreignness to the circle. A relation without relation of familiar foreignness. It is perhaps in this sense that the gift is the impossible. Not impossible, but the impossible, the very figure of impossible. It announces itself. It gives itself to be thought as impossible.
The beach now undergoes tempestuous change. The sand is the color of confusion, neither dull nor bright, and yet it suits the quality of the atmosphere and wind. The sea is unseasonably foamy. One feels that it will soon subdue the attacks of shoaling rocks. It is hallowed by flickering surfaces. As if this reality, the sand, the sea trees, the volcano's conductive water, organized its economy according to a cyclical plan, butterized by disorder. Those fantastic projects set up every 2 years or so to save the country crossed my mind. Every one of them determined by notions of subjection and inevitably destroyed, swallowed up by personal profit. I wondered whether in little countries such as ours, one believed in the future of little countries. Economic prospects, their inspiration, ought not to be more like the beach at Leta Diamant, cyclical, changeable, mutating, running through an economy of disorder whose detail would be meticulously calculated, but whose comprehensive view would change rapidly depending on different circumstances.
The internal rate of return, IRR, is a metric used in capital budgeting, measuring the profitability of potential investments. Internal rate of return is a discount rate that makes the net present value, NPV, of cash flows from a particular project equal to zero. Internal rate of return is used to evaluate the attractiveness of a project or investment. If the IRR of a new project exceeds a company's required rate of return, that project is desirable. If IRR falls below the required rate of return, the project should be rejected. A general rule of thumb is that IRR value cannot be derived analytically. Instead, IRR must be found by using mathematical trial and error to derive the appropriate rate. However, most business calculators and spreadsheet programs will automatically perform this function. So this is a chorus. This is a pretty important one. I guess they're all important.
There is a struggle, and its amplification worries those with financial power. Now we are asked to be accomplices for a balancing, a balance favoring those with financial power, a balancing intergovernance. No, we cannot be accomplices. No, we cannot go with those who suck our people's blood and live on our people's sweat. We cannot go with them in their murdering efforts.
The recurrent image of the triangle in the decorations represents Zalanga, a nested stack of calabashes that each woman keeps in the kitchen. Since these calabashes are stacked from large to small, they form a triangle. The smallest container in a woman's Zalanga is the kumpoi, which is a shrine for her soul. When she dies, the Zalanga, along with her pots, is smashed, and her soul is released to eternity. The eternity concept is symbolically represented by the coils of a serpent of infinite length, sculpted into the walls of these homes. When a child is born, it must remain in the innermost enclosure of the woman's dego until it can crawl out by itself. Each successive entrance is, spatially as well as socially, a rite of passage, starting with the biological entrance of the child from the womb. It leaves each of these nested chambers as the next iteration of life stages is born. The Zalanga models the entire structure in miniature, and its destruction in the event of death maps the journey in reverse. From the circles of the largest calabash to the tiny kumpoi holding the soul. From mature adult to the eternal realm of ancestors who dwell on the earth's womb. There is a conscious scheme to the scaling circles of the Nankani. It is a recursion which bottoms out at infinity.
In the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, many have challenged the dominant economic theories and perspectives on markets. The efficient market hypothesis, EMH in particular, has fallen short in explaining the crisis. According to the EMH, given rational expectations from investors and market efficiency, an investor is unable to beat the market and gain consistent returns. Furthermore, investors are unable to either purchase undervalued or sell undervalued stocks. In order to achieve returns in excess of average market returns, investors must bear the risk associated with volatile assets. On the other hand, renowned economist Robert Shiller insists asset prices are inherently volatile, and thus the assumption of market efficiency and rational expectations cannot be made. While EMH still resides at the forefront of modern financial theory, alternative theories that provide a more accurate representation of markets have emerged. Fractal market hypothesis, for instance, focuses on the investment horizons and liquidity of markets and investors. Factors limited in the framework of EMH. The theoretical framework of fractal markets can clearly explain investor behavior during periods of crisis and stability.
Snakes and trains. Like the particles of physics, have no objective, observer-independent features. The snake I see is a description created by my sensory system to inform me of the fitness consequences of my actions. Evolution shapes acceptable solutions, not optimal ones. The snake is an acceptable solution to the problem of telling me how to act in a situation. My snakes and trains are my mental representations. Your snakes and trains are your mental representations.
Thus, the specific mode of working here appears directly as becoming transferred from the worker to capital in the form of the machine and his own labor capacity devalued thereby. Hence, the worker's struggle against machinery. What was the living worker's activity becomes the activity of the machine. Thus, the appropriation of labor by capital confronts the worker in a coarsely sensuous form. Capital absorbs labor into itself, as though its body were by love possessed.
Work, 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 work. He say me have to work, 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 work. He see me do me dirt, 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 dirt. So me put in work, 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 work. When you all gonna learn, 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 learn. We no care if him hurt, 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 hurting. We have another chorus. It's the first chorus again.
The all must be all that really is. There can be nothing existing outside the all, else the all would not be the all. The all must be infinite, for there is nothing else to define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict the all. It must be infinite in time, eternal. It must have always continuously existed, for there is nothing else to have ever created it, and something can never evolve from nothing. It must exist forever, for there is nothing to destroy it, and it can never not be, even for a moment. In June 2015, Bloomberg News reported that $1 was worth 35 quadrillion Zimbabwean dollars. The declining value of the Zimbabwean dollar is partially attributable to years of hyperinflation that began in the 1990s and peaked around 2008. In 2009, a multi-currency SYS system was introduced. Most government transactions are now conducted in US dollars, but daily transactions may also be conducted in the South African Rand, Botswana Pula, British Pound Sterling, Indian Rupee, Euro, Chinese Yen, Chinese Yuan, Japanese Yen, and Australian Dollar. This system hasn't restored trust in Zimbabwe's monetary system. There is a persistent concern among some vendors about the ease of counterfeiting foreign currency that remains unfamiliar to many people, even as such counterfeiting practices remain unverified.
There are several problems with this account. To begin with, no evidence of any pre-monetary society structured by barter exists, whereas an increasing amount of anthropological research suggests that most societies throughout history have allocated goods through very different systems of distribution, such as gift exchange, where barter is present at all, typically arises after the invention of money rather than before it. More damningly, for little, if anything, in neoclassical economics rests on the historicity of the term, it gets the nature of money wrong. In Desang's version of the chartalist view, money arises out of taxation, a central authority with the power to collect and redistribute community property issues tokens representing a share of the general store of goods. Because this authority decides what contributions it will demand and what tokens it will accept, it has the unique power to confer a broader circulation on its own tokens, to create fiat money.
There was no such thing as Western civilization before the European Renaissance. Greece and Rome became part of the narrative of Western civilization, the not before. With the Renaissance, a double movement began. First, the colonization of time and the invention of the European Middle Ages. Second, with the emergence of Atlantic trade, the colonization of space, and the invention of new and old worlds. This separation, seemingly so natural today, is obviously historical. There could be no old world without a new one. Later, the old world would be divided into imperial Atlantic Europe and colonial Asia and Africa.
In machinery, the appropriation of living labor by capital achieves a direct reality in this respect as well. It is, firstly, the analysis and application of mechanical and chemical laws arising directly out of science, which enables the machine to perform the same labor as that previously performed by the worker. However, the development of machinery along this path occurs only when large industry has already reached a higher stage, and all the sciences have been pressed into the service of capital. And then secondly, the available machinery itself already provides great capabilities. Invention then becomes a business, and the application of science to direct production itself becomes a prospect which determines and solicits it. But this is not the road along which machinery by and large erodes, and even less the road on which it progresses in detail. This road is rather dissection through the division of labor, which gradually transforms the worker's operation into more and more mechanical ones, so that at a certain point, a mechanism can step into their places.
Dry, near desert him, no time to have you lurking. Him a go act like you don't like it. You know I dealt with you the nicest. Nobody touched me, you the righteous. Nobody texted me in a crisis. I believed all of your dreams, adoration. You took my heart and my keys and my patience. You took my heart on my sleeve for decoration. You mistaken my love, I brought you for foundation. All that I wanted from you was to give me something that I never had, something that you've never seen, something that you've never been. But I wake up and act like nothing's wrong. Just get ready, feed. Work, 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 work. He say me have to work, 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 work. He's seen me do me dirt, 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 dirt.
There is a struggle and its amplification. Wait, this is the chorus. It's the second chorus.
There's a struggle and its amplification worries those with the financial power. Now we are asked to be accomplices for a balance favoring those with the financial power, a balancing against popular masses. No, we cannot be accomplices. No, we cannot go with those who suck out people's blood and live on our people's sweat. We cannot go with them in their murder endeavors.
When in fact we list unmethodologically some of the rounds demonstrating every level of economic development in a country like this. The infrastructure and its maintenance, the terms of investment, the budget of the state, what state, professional training, search for prospects, energy sources, what sources, unemployment, the world to create, social security coverage, taxes, union dialogue, the internal market, import-export, capital accumulation, the division of the national product of what nation. Every single one is in crisis, non-existent or impossible. Not one has summoned its inspiration from independent political power. Furthermore, all are products of structural disorder inherited from colonization, which no adjustment of parity between the former colony and the former home country, and moreover, no planning of an ideological order could ever remedy.
The greatest weight. What if someday or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, this life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more. And there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything, unutterably small or great in your life, will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence. Even this spider and this moonlight between the trees, and even this moment, and I myself, the eternal hourglass of existence is turned upside down again and again, and you with it, speck of dust. Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Oh, how well disposed would you have to become to yourself and to life to crave nothing more fervently than this ultimate eternal confirmation and seal.
Either capitalism negates itself, brought to ruin by its own contradictions, or it is negated by a force it produces as its own negation, the working class. In either variant, one thing is key. Capitalism can change its appearances, but never its essence. Its essence can only be negated by contradiction or struggle. The essence of capital is eternal. This is the striking feature of how it is now imagined. Those who love it, of course, embrace this thought. It needs merely to be perfected by our love. This is sometimes called, with a stunning lack of imagination, neoliberalism. But what is even stranger is that those who do not love it seem to agree. The essence of capitalism is eternal. It goes on forever, and everything is an expression of its essence. Capital is the essence expressed everywhere, and its expression is tending to become ever more total. The other side of the eternal essence of capital is its ever-changing appearances. Change is accounted for via the use of modifiers. Its appearances can even be periodized. There was merchant capitalism, then industrial capitalism, then monopoly capitalism, then neoliberal capitalism. There's some ambiguity as to what to call the current stage, however. It could be multinational, cognitive, semio, late, neoliberal, or post-Fordist capitalism, to name just a few. Note that the last two of these are temporal modifications to a modifier. Neoliberal post-war.
It is in the senses listed above that has had many theorists entertaining the possibility that timelessness could exist in our universe beyond the smearing of space-time seen in quantum phenomena. Julian Barber has in fact worked to show what a timeless, fully spatialized model of the time of the universe might look like. Barber imagines a quantum superposed state in which every possible universe that could emerge from such superposed state exists as a branch in that state, and that some of these states would include false memories or embeddings of some states within others. Our consciousness of the world actually moving through time could simply be a flashing between these states in a way that gives the illusion of movement. Since memories are built into our sense of the world, each snapshot would feel like it had history, even if it hadn't, and even if these slices didn't come in order.
It is in the senses listed above that has had many theorists entertaining the possibility that timelessness could exist in our universe beyond the smearing of space-time seen in quantum phenomena. Julian Barber has in fact worked to show what a timeless, fully spatialized model of the time of the universe might look like.
Barber imagines a quantum superposed state in which every possible universe that could emerge from such superposed state exists as a branch in that state, and that state
Some of these states
would include false memories or embeddings of some states within others. Our consciousness of the world actually moving through time could simply be a flashing between these states in a way that gives the illusion of movement. Since memories are built into our sense of the world, each snapshot would feel like it had history, even if it didn't, and even if these slices didn't come in order.
Thank you very much.
Triomf, happy to be here. Welcome to Triomf. We cater to all your cultural lifestyle needs. This week we have a special on Save. This is just one of many great products we have available. So come on down, you'll never leave. Save, exclusive for leisure and pleasure.
In the background. Yeah, it's quite fun. Where is it? I think it's somewhere in Switzerland, maybe in Basel. Yeah. I like to keep it. Yeah, thank you. Maybe I can.
And you were streaming.
Yeah, this was like.
That was the background, right?